All right, Paul Damelio. I grew up in Rodeo, California. We lived on Vallejo Avenue in Rodeo, which was only a couple of doors down up from the grammar school there. But many fond memories living in Rodeo and growing up and playing on this team. Well, when I was little, I had a ball stuck to my hand. I always had a basketball with me. I spent hours down at the St. Patrick's School in Rodeo. Back then, they didn't have fences around the schools, so you could just go down and shoot whenever you wanted to, and I would be down there for hours. Outside of the games, I was playing basketball. Just the way it was. I just loved basketball all my life. I love baseball too, but I grew up with all the sports, but basketball, for whatever reason, stuck with me. I was the point guard on the Swett team. I started out playing as a freshman on the freshman team, where John Steinbach was our coach back then. And prior to coming into high school, he actually coached us at 7th and 8th grade. We had a traveling team that he put together. It was the first time I think we ever had one in the district. What that did for us is it enabled us to play with Crockett players before we got into high school, and kind of broke down some of those barriers, the egos that you might have coming together in high school, because we got to know each other so well for 2 years playing. So it was a lot of fun, and we traveled outside of the city, Martinez, Napa, El Cerrito, played a lot of games in other schools and other cities. That also broke down some of the fear you might have when you get into high school and you're traveling, where you didn't do that in youth sports. So that was a lot of fun, but more importantly, we got to know the players. And that was one of the, when I got into high school, I knew that our junior and senior years were going to be pretty special, because we had a pretty good click on that team. And I knew when we came together as juniors and seniors, it would be a pretty special team. We already knew each other. Everybody kind of knew where everybody was going to be on the court. It was kind of like reading minds. But yeah, it was just, I knew that was going to happen when we got there, and it really did. It was a special team. Well, me personally was just doing the best I could on the court and helping the team in any way I could. So, but for the team, I think we all had high expectations, especially that junior year. But we didn't have the success we did with the next level, the next team that came up, and I believe that the expectations were high. I think everybody had high expectations of themselves and of the team, and we knew we could do some of the things that we ended up doing just by playing the way we knew how, playing to our potential, basically. We had Wally, we had Doug Gillette, Mark Moriano. I believe those guys were all still on the team. Buckley, myself and Keith, Ralph. I don't remember all of them. Don't think Tim was on that team. I think he came on as a senior. Grant, I think, was there. Eric Cargo was there. But that team was, some of that team was still, Mark Cox was also on the team. Some of that team was still that 7th and 8th grade team that we played together. And then you guys joined us and just added more talent. And it was just a lot of fun. Like Nick said, it was just like good chemistry and just the way that Myron managed the team and his expectations of us, and he knew what our potential was, and I think he was trying to pull that out of us. I think all of that came together in that team, and it was a lot of fun that year. I think we lost one. Yeah, but I think one league game, and that was the Justin game. That one sticks out to me because I missed a couple free throws there. My successes were individually marking the best player on the other team and holding them below their average. I figured if I did that, if somebody had a 24-point average and I held it to 10 or 12 points, those are 12 points for me. That's the way I approached it. I wasn't, like I told you, I don't feel like I was ever the best shooter on the team. I knew I had you, I had Keith, I had Ralph on the wings, and I took enough shots just to make the defense see me, and I got them off of me and then on me, and then I got the ball to you guys, and that was to me more important because you guys had a better shooting percentage than I did. I'd get hot sometimes, but I didn't need to take shots. My dad would always tell me after games, you need to shoot more. Yeah, I just didn't feel like I needed to. I spent more time on defense. And that's where I really excelled, and then pushing the ball on offense for the team, just being the quarterback of the offense, basically. My brother played for him before me, and I constantly heard Mark talk about how good a coach he was, and so that was in my mind before it came up. I joined the team as a sophomore, which is Keith on our team joined as a freshman than I came up with him as a sophomore. That year, Coach Oschlager was trying to get me back in a big way on the JV team. And he was really pressuring Myron to get me back on that team. And so I'll never forget this. Myron took me in the office downstairs, and he sat me down. He said he had a few questions he wanted to ask me. I didn't know what he was going to talk about, but he brought that up. He brought up that Coach Oschlager really wanted me back down because we just got done playing preseason. We did our tournaments up in St. Helena. I wasn't playing a lot of minutes yet, and I was good with that. But Oschlager saw that. He felt like if I was down on JV, I'd be playing quite a bit, probably 100%. He wanted me down there. So what Myron did is he brought me into the office, and he wanted to get my perspective on what I wanted. And I basically just told him that Coach Oschlager wasn't a coach. You realize that once you played for him and once you played for Myron. There's two different passions there. There's two different, the way he approaches the game and the tactics that Myron used to give us. Oschlager wasn't a coach. So I just told him, I'm a 13-year-old sitting across from my coach. I said, Oschlager's not a coach. And I said, this is between you and me. I don't want you talking to him, like telling him what I'm saying, but he's not a coach. I would be a better sitting bench for you the whole year and learning, and then my junior year taking over, than playing 100% of the time on the JV team. But I said to him confidently, I think I'm going to start early in the season. He just said, that's all I need to hear. And then the rest was just amazing 3 years, because by the second game I was starting and never looked back. Now there were a couple, I won't mention any names, there were a couple people on the team that were jealous of that because they were losing time. But that's not here nor there. I was just out there to help the team, so it didn't matter to me their feelings. And there's sometimes they were talking in the background and it'd get back to me, but I just let that stuff go and let my game do the talking. Not just that season. I've got a few of them. The first game I played as a sophomore, that second game was against Vanden out here. And I just remember that was when Wally and Doug and Leonard and Mark Morano, Keith was there. Most of those guys moved on, but I remember taking the court, and I don't know why or why I did this, but I was pushing the ball a lot that night. Myron, like you said, he liked us to slow the ball down. He liked us to get the rebound, set up as an offense. But I was new to that, so I hadn't learned that yet from him because I was still new to the team. I was pushing the ball as much as I could, and I was hitting Wally. I remember Wally made 3 or 4 shots in a row right here on the baseline. I was pushing it down the court, hitting Wally, and he was just putting them up. And then sometimes I'd go down to the top of the key, and I'd go up for a jump shot, but then I'd pass it to Doug Gillette under the basket. He put in a layup. I was doing that all night long, and we ended up beating Vanden that night. And I think that was the game. I don't remember if that was it, but I think it may have been a year later that the Daily Republic printed in their paper that was a fluke, that we beat them. And then we went up there and spanked them. It was phenomenal. I mean, we won so much. It was just so hard when we did lose because we didn't expect to lose. We expected every time we stepped on the floor that we were going to win a game, and it was just a lot of fun because, that doesn't happen all the time. You play sports all your life, and you rarely have those kinds of situations where you're winning that much. And just to share that with the other players and come out of it on top and make the playoffs, get into the sections, and it was a lot of fun. Well, the coaches impacted my life a lot. John Steinbeck was one. Myron was another. But Myron was a special coach. It wasn't about winning, but we won a lot. We didn't have the pressure, I don't think, and that's the one thing is you put pressure on kids and sometimes they shrink. We never had that feeling that we had to win, but we just wanted to perform. Yeah, because we didn't feel like, we hated to lose. All of us hated to lose, but we didn't feel the coach putting that pressure on us. He was just giving us the tactics and the plays and what his expectations were on the court. And then we just had to carry that out and execute it. And it never felt like pressure to win, never. But we won. I think not having that pressure was what was helpful for us to succeed. It was more intramural. It wasn't traveling team, so to speak. Well, as my kids were growing, they all played basketball a little bit too, and I loved doing that because it's the game I love. Just playing against those guys was a lot of fun because still very competitive with us in high school. Just had a lot of respect for them because they were here every Thursday night and then in Carrots and Sunday nights playing with us, and it was a lot of fun. If we played each other a number of times, some would go one way, some would go the other. I don't think there would be a dominant between the two of us, but I think there'd be a lot of respect between the two teams. No, not me. I had to go to the bathroom.
Oh, you had to go to the bathroom?
I had to go to the bathroom before the game. I had a bubbly stomach, yeah. Okay. Not puke, though. No, I would get nervous, and just before, like 10 minutes before, I'd have to hit the bedroom, and I'd be in there for a few minutes, and then I was good to go.
You were here?
No, I was interested in school. I wasn't one of the best students. I was C plus B, average. I wasn't a hard worker when it came to school. I kind of skated through. But I did enough to get the grades I needed to do to get to play on the teams. But I like school. I'm a social person at heart, and just being at school, it's all social. I mean, so that was why it was fun for me, just getting to know people. 40 years now in May. It's been a good ride. I mean, we got 4 kids. All 4 kids are doing very well. They're very driven. Some of that comes from good parenting. Some of it comes from a little luck along the way, because they could go sideways even with good parenting. So, but yeah, it's been a good ride. We've been together 47 years now. I was a junior, she was a sophomore. I read some of the stuff you put in print, and I disagreed with some of it. I think I told you earlier. I feel like Myron's approach to the team was more about he saw the potential in us. I think he saw as I was a freshman, as you were a freshman, as you came up in JVs. He was watching all those games along the way, and he was picking out the players that he knew were going to come out to the team we became. And I think he saw the potential, and he wanted to bring out that potential because he knew what it would turn into. And I think some of the stuff that you took as being personally hard on you was because he was looking for that potential. And I think he felt like, and I had some players that I coached that did this. And so I had to deal with that. And I didn't approach it the way he did. I wasn't slapping my hand on the ground and putting him next to me on the bench and sitting down and talking to him. He did it that way. That was his approach. I didn't approach it that way. I took him after the games or after practice, and I talked to them. I just think that was he just had a different approach, and you might have taken it a little more personal. But
I took it as he saw potential. I didn't necessarily always play his style.
No, you didn't. But there's.
If I made the basket, it was
successful. Yes, I agree with that.
It's sort of like he took the good with
the
bad.
It's that no, yes, right?
I was a very mixed bag for him.
You're coming down the court and he sees you coming and you're going one-on-one. No, yes. That kind of thing.
I was a very mixed bag.
I get that, but every team needs players like that. Regardless of whether they're going against the script, you still need that player because that player's showing confidence in themselves that they can do it. And many times he did. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the way he dealt with it was a little bit harsher than a lot of coaches would because you're going off script. I don't think it was anything personal. I really don't. I think he felt about the players on the court the same way he felt about them off the field. And I think he had the passion to bring the potential of a player out. And that's what he was doing more than anything.